They had to come around the horn, right?
Yeah, 1910, Panama Canal.
Is that the Panama Canal, I think? Okay, so they're coming around, but there's Oregon Territory. And they're going from here to Oregon Territory when Kaukiauli finds out that William Little Lee has his degree in law. So he says, look, why don't you stay here and be Chief Justice? Then I don't have to be Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And now you bring your knowledge of law and assist me in the cabinet and with the Privy Council. See, the Hawaiians had a Privy Council which is made up of what you call the Fono, or in Tonga, the Hono. So it's a very enlightened group that we're considering when the missionaries come out, that you just can't, preach Bible to them and they accept it just like that, because they have to understand the arguments that are in the Bible, because they're that kind of people. Yet, if you're around Hawaiians and they open the Bible, you see how smart they are right away. Why? Well, let's put it this way. In the Bible are many words for God. So, which ones do you know? Which one did Kawena III use when he wrote his will? He says Jehovah. Who's that? To the Jews, who's Jehovah? That's their war god. That's who they address when they go to war. Not who they address when they go to church. Who do they talk to when they're in church? What do they call him?
Yahweh.
No, that's still the war god. They don't address him as Yahweh.
Adonai.
Okay, Adonai is also a name they don't use openly. Otherwise, what does Christ say when he's on the cross? What does he call his Father? Okay, that's good.
Eli,
lama sabachthani. Because Father is Elohim in the Jewish church. Now, when you go look through how the missionaries and the Hawaiians translated all those words for Father, you'll be amazed how smart. Like Ab-El, alright, Abel, Cain's brother, that's father, Ab-El. So you go El and Ab father, El father. So Abel, now then they fight and so forth, then Cain goes off. Now watch where he goes. He just disappears, does he? No. That name goes to Can. Watch Cain where he goes, Can. Canaan. Right, McCain. That's true, son of Cain.
oh yes,
Kennedy, Kenaz, then Koenig, King. Those are all variations of Khan, all the way over to Genghis Khan.
Kenneth.
Right, Kenneth. Household, the head of household. That's why those languages, you go from 0 to 30 degrees and you come down to Kentucky. Kentucky. I'm sorry.
Can I ask one question?
What?
The so-called native tenant rights that were preserved when they set up the Land Commission Awards. What effect, if any, do you think that would have in these arguments about the Akaka bill and
you know how the Hawaiians are right now? They're all taking the step after reading that thing that went in, to on January 31st. You know what they're all doing, don't you? They're all starting their cases. Never mind what OHA's going to do. Tough if OHA loses. Tough. We don't like Hawaiian homes. They've been mean and cruel to us for how many years? Why do we care? Now it's our turn. So what are they going to do? They're going to argue from the opportunity that this gives to argue what? Their right to what?
to the land?
To the titles that were existing in those lands when the Hawaiians were on those lands, until the Hawaiian Homes Act gets it, then all of a sudden they got to pay $1 a year. All of a sudden they got to pay $1 a year lease. Plus what? Real property taxes until Patsy Mink had them removed when she was last serving in the Congress. She deliberately had that tax property for as long as they paid the lease rent of $1 a year and the real property tax. Then at the end of the period of residency, they could claim what? The fee title, like in general leases, which had nothing to do with the 200,000 acres from the Act of 1920. They're saying, now we don't have to worry about, we don't have to worry about Hawaiian Homes. We're going to sue up what we can as Kuleana rights because we descend from those people when the Kuleana Act was drafted and passed in 1852 before the king died in 1854. Right now, you get the thing like the Kanaina case. So here's what's going to happen, and I predict it will happen. The Supreme Court will do what it wants. It'll back this and that. The Hawaiians will still go and sue and sue and sue. And what will happen? We've experienced this a long time. Who will profit from that? Come on, it's your imagination. Use your imagination. Who profits from that?
Not the Hawaiians.
Well, lawyers.
The Howleys.
There's a cottage industry. I need a job.
Yeah.
The government, I don't know.
So I don't know what the latest decisions have been on the subject of Hawaiian properties and where those cases have been fought recently. So what I have done is simply put the Kamehameha rights out there as the rights to the residual, that's all. But whether that's actually going to happen, I can't say. I just don't like communal property rights because it's a lie. Historically and in every way, it's just not true. Hawaiians are not communal property, communal tenures. No, they're feudal tenures, and they have an understanding of obligation and of responsibilities in the same way that Anglo-American common law is the same. It's feudal tenures. And then, with Kamehameha III, you get fee simple titles, because he creates that. And that was where I figured that he freed the Hawaiians from their, what?
Feudal slavery.
Yeah, he did. So I don't know why we have so much problem. The other thing that I know is that when you start talking about the illegal overthrow and illegal annexation, what's phony about that argument? What's a lie there? I don't care how much evidence they produce in all their descriptions.
You know, I was going to ask you about that. Maybe this is a good place to ask
Go
that
ahead. Yeah.
question. As I understand it, now the overthrow, 1893, basically the plantation owners and their ilk appealed to Grover Cleveland, and he had no interest in getting involved in that situation, and he put them off and wouldn't get involved in it. And then when in 1898 they got action when they went to McKinley, and McKinley is the one that got us into the nightmare in the Philippines with the Philippine insurrection. And if you look at the history of that, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to see parallels between Bush and Iraq and his insanity, and McKinley's attitudes and McKinley's actions that got us into the mess in the Philippines.
You think so? you're convinced that we were in a mess.
That what? Oh, the Philippine insurrection. It was
We were
horrible.
in a mess because of all these annexations. Are we?
Well, no. What I was saying was McKinley's actions towards the Philippines